Welcome to Simplified Sparky Marketing. I'm going to tell you a story about how I lost one of my best clients. I would say probably my best client to a painter. So what had happened was this client has a very suave house in Sydney's inner west, and she went through stages of replacing her existing halogen downlights to LED downlights, and she went for the brush chrome look, and I replaced. Used to do it in batches. I used to do like batches of 20 because there was about 300 in the whole house. So she used to call me every few months and I would go in and I would change the downlights, and I would do other bits around the house. I had some tripping issues. I put in some data points and stuff like that as well. But like just really lovely people, very Italian. Like it stretched into her referring me to her son who was a business in the inner west as well. And I did some work in his shop, and just like really nice people. Until the painter came along. So what had happened was she was postponing these downlights with years, and what had happened was she was finally getting some painting done because they were up high, they were in awkward positions. Literally, they were really tricky to get off a ladder, even with an extension, just because of the way they were. So what had happened was the painter was using a scaffold, and the client called me and she was like, "Oh, we're getting this done. The painter is coming with a scaffold. So can we get some lights done in that area?" And I was like, "Perfect. How much is there?" And whatever the number was, let's just say, for instance, it was 30 or 40. So there was 20 in this high up area where the scaffold was set up, and there was another 20 up the top that you could get off of an 8-foot ladder. And that was fine. So what had happened was the painters were kind of flat out busy, and I was like, "Do you want me to jump up? Do you want me to get it?" He goes, "Oh no, don't worry about it, man. I've pulled one down and they're actually just plugged in." So he's like, "If you want to leave the box of lights there, I can actually plug them in." And I was like, "Fucking sweet." I was just like, "Yeah, that sounds good to me." So I left the box of them and I was like, "I'm short. I think I was short 2. I did a count and I was short 2 or something." So I was like, "Fuck." I was like, "I'll get them to you like in 2 days or something like that." I was flat out busy at the time, and I was like, "I'll get them to you in 2 days." They were special order lights. And I said to the client that I'll get them in 2 days. And the next day she was freaking out. And she messaged me and she goes, "You should have had the lights here today because now the scaffold is taken down and we can't get back up there. And you didn't have the lights. It's very disappointing. Rah, 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 rah." So if you're anyway clued in, you would have copped at the start or just a few sentences ago, I mentioned there was 20 in that area that could be done off this, that had to be done off the scaffold. And there was 20 in the other area that could be reached off an 8-foot ladder. Now, what would you do in this situation if you had 40 lights, or let's say 38 lights, and you knew a scaffold was coming down and it wouldn't be going up there for, could be years again? What way would you go about doing the lights? Would you A, do what the painter did and leave 2 short on an extremely difficult area to reach, or B, leave it short for the vicinity of the 8-foot ceiling that anybody can get to? Just get an 8-foot ladder. And I would lock in B, and that was how we parted ways, was because I said to the client, I goes, "Look, her name," I goes, "I'm really sorry, but that was very, very stupid from your painter." And she flew off the handle and was like, "He's helped you out. He's put in the downlights. He really helped you here. You should have had the lights on site." I goes, "No, look at it from my perspective. Like, I could have reached those lights off an 8-foot ladder over there. Why didn't he just take 2 from there and use them up there? That would have resolved everything." And she's like, "Nah," and just totally defended the painter. And I was like, "Look, I'll hire a scaffold from Kennards and I'll get up there and I'll swap them." She goes, "Don't worry about it. Let me know how much I owe you for the lights." And that was basically the end of it. And then in stubbornness as well, I was like, "Don't worry about it. Keep your lights," which is quite stupid because it was just heat of the moment that I was like, she was like, "Fuck you." I was like, "Fuck you." And that's how we ended. And the reason I thought of that today was because I actually drove past her house, and I'm sorry it ended that way. And what it was just ego. And I should have gone to her house and just calmed the situation and explained everything of like basically my side of the story, agreeing with her side of the story, but then saying that, look, it would have been better. I know it didn't work out that way, but if he'd used those in that vicinity, not actually putting them, like leaving the ones out in a very difficult situation to get to, but I'm still in the right, so that doesn't matter. But a few things client related today actually, and just old clients. But I think the older you get, the more you mature, and I do actually miss her as a client. She was actually a lovely person. I got on well with her family. Like, I was actually considering messaging her and just saying, like, look, by all means, stick with your current electrician, all that. I just wanted to apologize for my side of the story. And yeah, no hard feelings kind of thing, because they were lovely people, but she just flew off the handle and sided totally with the painter, which pissed me off. But I think as you get older, the more you kind of see this and just people's situations and stuff as well. I just, felt bad about it. But that's my story about the painter robbing my client. And he probably referred his mate. That was probably the gag. He got his mate in instead of me. So the next cab off the rank is clients on the move. And this has happened to me twice this week, where I've had two existing clients message me and they're like, we're selling the house, so we need this done. And where this all stems into the whole podcast is reiterating the importance of staying in front of your client. And what has happened is these clients are in my flywheel, as I like to call it. They're getting an email every so often, so I'm in top of mind with them. This is vital that you do that with your clients as well. Like, you have to stay top of mind, because even if the client loves you, they move house, they might still be within your district or your area that you do service. All bets are off if you're not staying top of mind, because you will be forgotten. And when they move to a new area, next thing they're talking to their neighbor, and their neighbor's like, I've had a fantastic electrician come by last week. I passed their number to you. And they're like, yeah, because I can't remember who that last electrician was. Really nice guy, very well organized business, but I just can't remember their name. And that is very common. I told that story on the podcast a few months ago. It could have been last year, about one of my really good clients has no clue what my business was called. And I think she's forgotten again. She just knows me personally, and she just associates my business with me. And that's the thing of, like, if you don't stay in front of your A-grade clients, they are going to start forgetting you. And it's not even the big jobs you look after. It's every single person that gives you $1 goes into my flywheel. So if anybody's a paying client, that is the trigger for me. If they've paid, they go into the sequence. Whereas when it is somebody that's called up about a quote or an inquiry and just wasting my time and pissed off somewhere else, I don't entertain them, or I don't nurture them, because if they're not a good client from the get-go, I don't want to be doing business with them in the future, particularly if they're like, oh, we went with a cheaper quote, but we'll reach out to you if we need anything else. Like, it's very tempting to lash back at them there and then, but I just don't. I just close the job and walk away and just be professional about it. But a lot of people have that where they're like, oh, well, it was only $150 job. But like, these are the kind of clients where you go out to a call out or something that they've had tripping, and it's a couple of $100, and they pay the bill, and they realize like that they're outgrowing this house. They've now got 3 kids and they're not going to fit in this house anymore. They've decided to buy a bigger house 4 suburbs over, and it is going to be like a $15,000 rewire in that place. But you've dropped the ball and left that money on the table because you didn't stay in front of them that time. It's all about strategy as well. Like, for instance, the fact I know that these clients are moving, I am now going to set a reminder or a trigger that in maybe 3 or 4 months, they'll get a personalized email about the move, like saying whatever about the move. And just again, staying top of mind, because once they get that email, it is then another inkling to go, oh, fuck, we need electrical work done. It's all about these strategies, and that's kind of what I'm going to be going through with my members. The door opened this week, so they're working their way through the levels, but when they get to the very end, which is the gold dust of client retention, this is all the kind of stuff that we're going to be covering. So when the invoice is paid, don't just hit reset and just forget about that client. Stay top of mind with that client, and then they're going to be your client for life, and they're not going to slip away to another electrician. Always treat every single client that pays you $1 as a return client that's going to come back to you. All links are in the bio if you're interested in anything else. Resources down there as well. Please take 2 seconds, just tick the stars of the podcast. Greatly helps it. Really appreciate it, and I'll chat to you next week.